All right, everybody, welcome to Game 2 of the 1982 Strat-O-Matic World Series, Kansas City Royals and the Montreal Expos. Game 1, Kansas City took it in extra innings, 4-3, on a big base hit by Amos Otis. So now, almost a must-win game for Montreal. They really don't want to go back to Kansas City down 2-0. Kansas City's kind of already accomplished their goal of at least a split here in Montreal. And there you see the starting pitchers for Game 2. Paul Splitorff for the Royals and Charlie Lee for the Expos. Let's look at the lineups for both teams. A little bit of shakeup on the Montreal side. Don't know if that's a panic move by Jim Fanning or not, but they did kind of mix things around a little bit. First, for the Royals, the only noticeable change really is Don Slott's going to catch. Wathan's still nursing an injury from Game 1 where he struck out and got injured, so it's kind of a rib muscle, kind of pulled something in his rib cage. So he's available to pinch hit, but he's not going to catch. So Don Slott is the catcher. Jamie Quirk would be the backup catcher if they need a defensive catcher, but John Wathan could pinch hit most certainly. All right, look at the Expos lineup. A lot of changes in that. As far as positioning and so forth. Tim Raines, instead of playing left field, he's going to be the DH in this game. Al Oliver is moving from DH back to first base. Terry Francona is going to take over in left field as they have benched Warren Cromartie. He had a rough Game 1, so he's going to sit on the bench. So Francona's in left field, Youngblood's in right field. Everything else is pretty much the same. The difference being Raines is a 4 outfielder in left field, whereas Francona's only a 2, so kind of a no-brainer there to put your best outfield out there. So you have a couple of 2s and a 1 in the outfield, so that gives you some really good outfield defense. And then Carter's a 1 as a catcher. So the only below average fielder out there is Al Oliver at first base. All right, so Charlie Lee, 12-10, 3.24 ERA on the 82 season. His job is to even this series, or do the best he can to help the Expos even the series, and see what happens. There is an off date for travel tomorrow to Kansas City, so both bullpens weren't used that much because Blue and Rogers pitched so deep into the game. The only guy for the Royals that might not pitch is Armstrong. He went 2 innings in Game 1, so they could use him in an emergency, but I think he would be one of the last guys they want to bring in, maybe to get one batter or something, but they got plenty of other guys out there, so he'd probably be the only guy that would be affected as far as fatigue goes. All right, so Willie Wilson's going to lead us off here in game number 2. And ballpark effects, just a reminder from game 1. Singles 1-11 for lefties, 1-4 for righties. Home runs 1-6 for both. Hold ratings, Charlie Lee is a +2. Carter is a -3, so that's a net -1 for Charlie Lee. Splitorff is a +1, Slott's a -1, so it's a net 0 for Splitorff. So better chances for base runners if they can get a jump. They have better, they will have better percentages to try to steal. All right, first you gotta get on base. That's the first thing before you worry about trying to steal. And speaking of getting on base, here's Willie Wilson. He did a good job of it in game 1. See what we can do here against Charlie Lee in game 2. Must win, almost a must-win game for the Expos. 3-5 for Wilson. That's a single, so good start for the Royals. Expos jumped out to a 2-0 lead in game 1, and you thought it might go south for the Royals, but they came all the way back, sent it to extra innings, and won it. So you can't necessarily go by the first inning, but it's a good start either way you go. Wilson, a 3 through 6 to get him a jump. Cannot get the jump, so he's going to have to hold. And that will send up Frank White. Frank White, the batter, against Charlie Lee. 2-7 for Frank White. That's a ground ball to short. There's a plus sign there, but the infield's not in, so that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. The plus does not affect holding runners, so, and plus it wouldn't have mattered anyway. The second baseman is responsible, not the shortstop. So that's a straight out 6-4-3 double play. Good chance there for Charlie Lee to get out of the inning. Got that tailor-made double play. And here's George Brett. He's really not done well in either series. Looking to right the ship here a little bit. 5-5, won't do it here. That's a strikeout. So Brett continues to struggle, but the Royals have not. So if he ever gets going, look out Montreal. All right, nothing doing for the Royals. And it's Royals nothing, Expos coming to bat. Bottom of the first against Paul Splitorff, and he was 10-10, 4.28 ERA in the 82 season. And he'll be facing the designated hitter, Tim Raines. Kind of a foreshadowing because I think he did a lot of DHing for the White Sox later in his career. But this is early on in his career. 2-9 against the lefty, and that's a 1 for a home run, but anything else he flies to left. And Francona puts it away. I'm sorry, not Francona. Left fielder Willie Wilson puts that away. Here's Al Oliver back in his familiar first base position. He had a big game in Game 1 in a losing effort, single, double, and a homer. So see what he can do here in Game 2 against Splitorff. For 10, catcher X. That is Don Slaught. He's a 3-E2. 3 and a 6 for a catcher. Will turn out to be a P/P, which I believe is just a straight up old pop out with nobody on base. And it is. That's an 11, and he is an E2, so shouldn't be any problem there. It is not. So Oliver pops it up to shoot. In fair territory is caught by Slaught for 1 away. For the Hawk, Andre Dawson. Splitorff 1-4 to Dawson. That's a ballpark single check. 1-4 for right-handers. That's an 8, so it's not going to happen. It's a liner to short. Had he been left-handed, that would have been a base hit, but not the case. So Expos go in order, 1, 2, 3. We go to the second, no score from the Big O. And Charlie Lee steps to the plate. And an interesting, not that there's no reading on the cards for ballpark effects on this, but this is a all AstroTurf World Series. And I believe this will be the first ever all AstroTurf World Series. I don't believe there was any other series that had that up to this point. I'm sorry, no. The Royals and the Phillies in 1980 were the first all AstroTurf World Series. My bad on that one. So they were the first all AstroTurf World Series. So this is the second one. How about that? All right, Charlie Lee to McRae. 111 for McRae, and he's going to ground it to Flynn, 1 away. And the hero from Game 1, I'm sorry, not the hero from Game 1. Amos Otis is the hero of Game 1. He's on deck. Got ahead of myself. Here's Aiken. 6-5 against a lefty. That's a strikeout for Charlie Lee. 2 down, and now the hero of Game 1 with that big clutch single in the 10th was Amos Otis. He's up with nobody on base. This time 1-4. Split chance with the triangle. 1-5 is a single. That's a 3. So he continues his hot hitting. Amos Otis might have to move him up to the 5th spot and drop Aikens. I don't know. It's a tough call either way you go. Otis will be held, but will not try to go anywhere. Or will he? Let's see. With 2 outs, they might want to try to get him in scoring position. Let's see. Amos Otis, a 4 through 6 will get him a jump. See if we can get the jump first of all. He cannot, so it's not really important now. It's no effect. Here's Jerry Martin, right fielder. 3-4, and it's a ground ball to third. Wallach will go the short way to second for the force, and the inning is over. So we go to the bottom of the second, no score. Splitorff now will face Carter. And then Wallach and Francona. Francona have been the pinch hitter extraordinaire, but they're going to give him a start here in this game. See if he can pep up the offense a bit. Splitorff to Carter, 5-6. It's a ground ball to short. UL Washington takes care of it, 1 away. For the third baseman, Tim Wallach. 1-9 for Wallach, and that's a ground ball back to Splitorff, an easy play. 2 up and 2 down, and here comes Francona, a singles machine. As in 1982, he had 321 and 131 at-bats. But out of his hits, only 3 were extra base hits. Everything else was singles. 5-10. This one's off of Splitorff. Ground ball shortstop X. That is UL Washington, a 2E32. 2 and a 15 is good all day. E32 and an 11. That could be interesting. There's a 13 and a 15, but no 11, so it's a good play for UL. And so another 1-2-3 inning for Splitorff. We go to the third, still no score. And we've got the bottom of the order, Don Slaught, starting in this one in place of the injured John Wathen, although like I said, Wathen could pinch hit if he needs to, or DH. He could take over as DH, something like that. 278 hitter and 115 at bats for Don Slot's not bad. And he's a good defensive catcher, better than Wathen actually. So Royals don't lose a whole lot there, except some speed. They do lose speed. 4-5 for Lee is a pop out to short. Speed won't matter here. It's a pop out to Spire, 1 away. And here's UL Washington, the number 9 hitter. 111 for UL. That's another ballpark single. Switch hitter batting left is a 1-11, but that's an 18. We're going to line to second for out number 2. 2 down for Willie Wilson. Had the first hit of the game, rather. 5-6, and he's going to pop it up to Al Oliver to end the inning. 3 up and 3 down go the Royals. So nothing doing. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. And pitching has kind of reigned supreme in the first game, and it's doing so here in this game. Joel Youngblood, the right fielder, leads it off. 3-4, and that's going to foul it out to Mr. Slot. 1 away for Chris Spire. 1-7, and that's a single for Chris Spire. First hit of the game for the Expos. It's a 1-out single. Spire will not be held. And Doug Flynn, the batter. Splitorff for the first time will be doing a... Actually, we're not going to need a strategy roll or a havoc roll for Splitorff. He's got no balk and no wild pitch, and Slot has no pass ball rating. So we don't need the D20 when Splitorff's on the mound. We'll just go straight to the at-bat for Flynn. 2-6 for Flynn, so struck him out. Flynn is out of there, 2 down. And that'll send up Tim Raines. 6-8, struck him out. So Splitorff matching Lee pitch for pitch. 3 innings in the books and no score from Olympic Stadium. That will send up Frank White, second baseman. 2-12 for Frank White. That's a ballpark home run chance, 1-6, but that's a 12. So it's just going to be a deep fly to left and hauled in by Francona. 1 away, so he gave it a look, but not quite enough. Here's George Brett. Maybe he's pressing too much, we'll see. 1-6. Well, he didn't press this time. It's a double for George Brett. Maybe that will snap him out of it. George Brett with a 1-out double. Brett will have to be held at second base. Here's Hal McRae, first serious threat of the game for either team. We do need the havoc roll for Charlie Lee. He's got a lot of stuff on his card, but nothing's happening. So here's McRae. 2-10 for McRae. That's a ballpark home run chance, but that's a 14. Well, it was a 14 until I bumped it. It was a 14, so it's a deep fly to left for out number 2. 2 down for Willie Aikens. And 2 failed ballpark home run chances. Hurt the Royals there. They could have had some runs, but they still might. Here's Willie Aikens. 3-8 for Aikens, and he flies to left. Boy, a 3-7 would have been a RBI single, but fly to left, and Francona puts all 3 of them away. So nothing doing for the Royals. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Zip to zip. As almost don't want to jinx it by saying we're rolling along here in a timely manner, but hopefully that stays the same. I like a tidy game. I don't like it to get drawn out. Here's Oliver, 1-8. That's a leadoff single for Al Oliver. Just a hitting machine. Many people think he's Hall of Fame worthy. I wouldn't object to it. I don't know if he's, if that's an oversight, but I wouldn't object to it if he got in the Hall, that's for sure. The way some people have been voted in here lately, he's just as deserving to me as some of the recent guys have gotten in. All right, here is Andre Dawson, but you can argue that all day long, I suppose. Oliver will not be held. So here's Dawson. 1-6, that's a ground ball B. So it's a fielder's choice. It's going to go 1-4. His Splitorff throws to Frank White, but they can't double up Dawson. But now Dawson has a chance to get a jump. He needs 2 through 5, an 11 or a 12. Can't do it, so he will have to stand pat. And Gary Carter, the batter. Splitorff 4-11 to Carter. And that's a ground ball third base B, so it's another fielder's choice. As Brett goes to White for out number 2. Carter is the new runner at first. He will not have to be held. And that brings up Tim Wallach. 6-10. Ground ball third base A. Boy, a lot of hits here in the right side of Splitorff on column 6, but the ground ball third base A means that Brett again will go to White for the force to end the inning. So we've played 4. Nothing's been decided. It's still no score from the Big O. And right now the Big O is around the scoreboard. Big O. Here's A. And speaking of O, here's another Big O. Amos Otis. Otis, my man, trying to get something going. It's Charlie Lee, 4-12. It's a ballpark home run chance again, but it's only 1-6. That's an 8. So it's another deep fly to left. That's a third out on ballpark home run chances. They're 0 for 3 on ballpark home run chances are the Royals. So here's Jerry Martin. 5-9. Ground ball shortstop X, Spire 3E14. 3 and 18 is good all day long. That's a 13 and he's an E14. There is no 13, there's a 15, but no 13, so good play for Chris Spire, and Martin is retired. Here's Don Slaught. Lead to Slaught, 3-7, and damage done. 1-5 is a double, but that's a 16, so it's a 2-out single for Don Slaught. He, of course, will not be held, and that'll bring up UL Washington. Havoc roll for Charlie Lee. Nothing happening. 3-7 for UL, and he flies to center to end the inning. Nothing doing in the top of the 5th for the Royals. We go to the bottom of the 5th, still no score on the board. All goose eggs. Splitorff back out. Will face Francona. 6-5, and look at this. 1-8 is a home run chance. 9-20 is a double. That's a 2, but he has weak power against lefties. And righties both for that matter. So that will turn into a single for Francona. No home run chance there, just a single, but they'll take it. Francona leads off with a single. He will not be held. And here is Joel Youngblood. Chance for the Expos to get something going. 4-11. Ground ball third base B, another 5-4 fielder. That's a third 5-4 fielder's choice. Right there as Brett goes to White. Youngblood, the new runner, he will not be held either. And that brings up Chris Spire. But those ground balls are not hard enough to turn 2, so they take the force when they can get it. Splitorff 3-8 to Spire. 3-8's ground ball shortstop A. It's a 6-4-3 double play. So a 6-4-3 DP takes care of all of that. And we go to the top of the 6th. No score from Olympic Stadium. Something's got to give here. Charlie Lee and Splitorff both have a 6 for fatigue. So this is the fatigue inning for both teams. But again, both bullpens pretty well rested. So no problems there about running out of pitchers for sure. Both teams only carrying 9 pitchers with 16 position players. But bullpen, you're going to have 5 guys in the bullpen, so they're pretty well rested. All right, here is the top of the order for Willie Wilson. 4-9, switch hitter batting left. That's a 1-9 home run. That's a 14 though, so it will be a fly to right. Out number 1. But Wilson had weak power, so he wouldn't have homered anyway. But the split chance took it away even further. Here's Frank White, second baseman. 1-7, and he flies to center. Andre Dawson is there, 2 down. And if you like pitching duels, you came to the right spot. Here's George Brett. He did double his last time up. Maybe he's shaking out of his slump. 1-6. He doubles again. Same roll. That's the second time he's gotten that 1-6 roll, and he doubles again, but this one with 2 outs. So he will be held at second base, but it's going to be up to Hal McRae to get the base hit. Charlie Lee with the havoc roll. Nothing happening. 1-5, and he struck him out. So big strikeout there to end the inning. And Charlie Lee pitches around that double. 1-6 would have been an RBI single, but a 1-5 is a strikeout. So we go to the bottom of the 6th, still no score. This is Splitorff's fatigue inning as well. Doug Flynn, number 9 hitter, leads things off. 3-6 for Flynn against the lefty. That's a leadoff single. So Doug Flynn, number 9 here, leads off with a single. He will not be held. Tim Raines had a bad sacrifice experience in game 1, so they will not do the sacrifice this time. They will just let him swing away against Mr. Splitorff. 4-3, and that's a fly ball right field X. That's Jerry Martin. He's a 2E8. 2 and a 4. Might get to that. Let's take a look. 2 and a 4 is an F1, so he did get to it. All runners tag and advance 1 base though on an F1, so Flynn's going to end up going to second base. Make sure there's no error. There's a 10 there. I don't think there is. 10 and an 8. Nope. But an F1 means that the runner advances. So even though it's a fly to right, it was so deep that Flynn was able to move up. So 1 away, but the runner did advance, so it acted like a sacrifice, kind of a pseudo-sacrifice. Flynn now at second base is still not going to be held because he doesn't run all that well. And they want to knock down balls in the infield if possible. Here's Al Oliver, the dangerous Oliver. 2-6. Ground ball shortstop A plus, but the infield's not in. They're just playing normal. So it will be a 6-3 ground out and runner holding. So Flynn holds, and now here's Dawson. Chance for Dawson to get an RBI. Give his team the lead, 2-8. Does not do it. He grounds to first. Aikens steps on the bag, and the inning's over. So nothing doing for the Spos. We go to the 7th. Still no score from Olympic Stadium here in Game 2. Royals lead 1-0. So pressure all squarely on the shoulders of the Expos. Royals have to feel like they're playing with house money. Charlie Lee gave up a double to Brett last inning, so he's only 1 knock against this point of weakness, so he's still okay. Willie Aikens, 5-7. Ground ball second base X. That is Flynn. He's a 2E15. 2 and a 12 is good. E15 and a 14. There's trouble. E15 for a second baseman. A 14 is a 1 base error. So 1 base error on Flynn. Not how they wanted to start that in E4. Expos committed a big error in Game 1 by Al Oliver. This one's committed by Flynn. So let's see if that opens the door. Aikens, of course, will not be held. He doesn't run well at all. And here is Amos Otis. Otis, my man. First, we'll do the havoc roll. Nothing happening. Amos Otis, the hero of Game 1. See if he can do it again here in Game 2. 3-5, but he strikes out. So not going to happen this time, at least not yet. Maybe he's waiting for the 9th or possibly extra innings to do something. We'll see. Jerry Martin, the batter. Lee with the havoc. Nothing happening. Here's Martin. 4-8, and that's trouble. 1-3 is a triple, but that's a 6. So it's a single 2 stars. That puts runners at the corners, and this is the best threat either team has had in this game. So right now, runners are at the corners. Neither runner is going to be held. So Don Slaught with a chance to break the tie right here. Charlie Lee, 1 more hit, and he will reach his point of weakness. So the bullpen is loosening for the Expos. They have double barrel action. They have Dan Schatzeder, the left-hander. He was the hero in the NLCS toward the end against the Dodgers. So they have Schatzeder, the left-hander, and they have right-handed action with Bryn Smith. So Bryn Smith, the righty, Schatzeder, the lefty, are both loosening in the bullpen and back of Charlie Lee. 1 more base runner via a walk or a hit, and he will reach his point of weakness. Right now he's still okay, but barely hanging on. Havoc roll. Nothing happening. Infield double play depth. They're looking to turn 2 against Don Slaught. 3-8, and it's a pop out to third. All these hits in column 3, and he hit a pop out to third. Infield fly rule. Hauled in by third baseman Wallach, and now with 2 outs, it's all up to UL Washington to get the big base hit that they need. Havoc for Lee, nothing happening. So it's up to UL Washington, neither runner being held. 2-10 for UL, and he grounds to short. Fielder's choice is Spire goes to Flynn the short way for the out, and the Royals miss a golden opportunity there. Charlie Lee pitches out of it. We go to the 7th inning stretch, and we're still scoreless here from Olympic Stadium. Splitorff had one knock against his point of weakness in the 6th, so he's still okay. Gary Carter will start us off, but since we're in the 7th inning stretch, boy, it's only been 25 minutes and we're already at the 7th inning stretch. That's how fast this game is going. It doesn't hurt my feelings any. I like quick games. So, looks like everything is still copacetic. So we'll drive on. Splitorff facing Gary Carter. 4-10 against Splitorff. That's a catcher X. That's slot. He's a 3-E2. 3 and a 9. And E2 and a 7. So an E2 and a 7, let's make sure there's no error there. E2, there is no 7. You have to have a 3, 17, or 18 for an error. And a 9 on a 3. He has a P/F, so that's a foul out. So Carter fouls out to his counterpart, slot, 1 away. Brings up Wallach. Try to get something done off Splitorff. 2-6 against the lefty. That's a line out hard, but right to Akins. He snags it, 2 down. And that'll send up Francona. 2-8, and that's a single plus injury. So Francona is going to probably be leaving this game. We'll see. He singles, but he is injured. And like I said, I set the precedent in game 1 by doing injuries. So we bring out the injury chart once again. 1 through 4, he's okay. 5 or 6, he just misses the remainder of the game. 7 or more, he misses more games. That's a 4. So as a 4, he is okay. He will not have to leave the game. He will stay in the game. So Francona shakes off whatever was ailing him. He's at first base with 2 outs for Joel Youngblood. And Francona will not be held, obviously, as he's a little dinged up. So he will not try to go anywhere. Splitorff to Youngblood. 1-8 for Youngblood. Struck him out. That's going to end the inning. So Splitorff and Lee matching each other pitch for pitch. 7 innings, no score. Nothing's been decided. Top of the order. Let's see, do you leave Lee in there? Because one more hit, he reaches his point of weakness. They do have Bryn Smith ready in the bullpen. What do you want to do here? I think they're going to go to the bullpen. I think they're going to go to Bryn Smith. So Charlie Lee pitched well for sure. 7 innings, gave up no runs. But he's kind of running out of gas. So let's see how many hits he gave up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. And let's check his walks. He did not walk anyone. That certainly helped his cause with those no walks. Didn't strike out many, but didn't have to. 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts. So the line for Charlie Lee, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, no runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. And a no decision. Tough no decision for him, but he pitched well, but just didn't get the run support he needed. And so now he will give way to Bryn Smith, the right-hander. 2-4 with a 4.20 ERA, 1 start, 3 saves for the Expos. So Bryn Smith is on. Smith's hold rating is a +3, so that's going to cancel out Carter and make him a 0. When you factor in pitcher hold ratings, it's now a 0 because of the Bryn Smith thing. So let's see what Wilson does here. If he gets on, he's got a much better chance of getting a steal. But he's got to get on first. 3-10, and he does, a single. Base hit for Willie Wilson. Had they brought in a lefty, they would have gotten him out, but they went with the righty Bryn Smith, and now Willie Wilson can get a jump on a 3 through 6. 6, he gets the jump, so Willie Wilson will be looking to steal. He's an 18. We've already figured out the hold rating to 0 when you combine the catcher and the pitcher. So it's only a -2 for being held. So 1-16 for Willie Wilson. And it's a 1, so it's a possible throwing error on Gary Carter. His T rating is a 5. No throwing error, but it will be a stolen base. Willie Wilson's at second base with nobody out. He will be held. And Frank White, the batter, not the best bunter in the world, but he might be just trying to hit the ball to the right side. See what he can do with this against Bryn Smith. 3-4. Ground ball to short, did not go to the right side. That's going to freeze Willie Wilson. Big play there for Bryn Smith. And now here's Brett, who was doubled twice in a row. Bryn Smith has to be careful with this. Has to be careful. That's a 1 chance for a wild pitch, and a 1-14 is a wild pitch. That's an 18 though, so Carter, great job blocking that, keeps it in front of him. And now Brett, 3-4. That's a ballpark single check, 1 to an 11, but that's an 18. So he lines it to second base. Flynn grabs it. There's 2 down. And that'll bring up Hal McRae, who is 0 for 3, but you would think he would be due. You could walk McRae with first base open and pitch to Aikens if they choose. So it's a matter of picking your poison. Who do you want to face in this situation? I think they're going to intentionally walk McRae and take their chances. I know it's kind of going against the grain, but Jim Fanning is playing a hunch. He does not want Hal McRae to beat him. So if Aikens does, so be it, but he just does not want Hal McRae to beat him. So Havoc there, and here's this, it sets up a forced play at any of the bases, and Bryn Smith to Willie Aikens. Does the strategy work? 2-7. It does not. It's a double for Willie Aikens. 2-7 on McRae would have also been a double, so it really didn't matter. It was, darned it, but the chances now is with the double you might get 2 runs instead of just 1. Willie Wilson will score from second easily. Now McRae runs at a 14. He's not being held as a trail runner, makes him a 15. There are 2 outs, makes him a 17. The double is assumed to go to center field, or is it to left field? No, I'm sorry, double went to left field. It specifies left field. Francona is a 0 arm. So we're looking at a 1-17 to score. And if you throw through, then Aikens can go to third, but I think you got to try to cut that run off. And they don't get him, so it's a 2-run double for Willie Aikens, and he will take third on the throw. So a big 2-run single or 2-run double there from Willie Aikens, and the strategy did not pay off for Bryn Smith. He's got to hang on here and try to get out of this inning. Facing Amos Otis. 6-2 fly to center. That's going to end the inning, but damage done. 2 runs here in the 8th. They come off of Bryn Smith, and now the second guesser is out there wondering why they took Charlie Lee out, but he was tired. But there's also a second guess of walking McRae, but he would have doubled also, but it would have been only 1 run, not 2. But that's what second guessing is all about. Bryn Smith's going to finish with 1 inning pitched, 2 hits, 2 runs. They were earned. The intentional walk, no strikeouts. So he is definitely the pitcher record for a loss. The pitcher record that now can get a win is Paul Splitorff, and that would give Kansas City a 2-0 lead in the series. The Expos really have to dig down, and they may be going to their bench here shortly as Doug Flynn is set to hit second. They may pinch hit for Flynn and try to get more offense out there. In fact, I'm sure they will. But first, Chris Spire, you're not going to pinch hit for him, I don't believe. They could, I guess, but I think you're going to stick with Spire in this situation. Although against the lefties, he just doesn't do all that well. What do you do here with the Expos? I think you're going to stick with Spire, though, against Splitorff. 1-7, and he does get a single, so it pays off sticking with Spire. But we will get a pinch hitter for Flynn, and it'll be Dan Norman, because Dan Norman has a really good column 3 here against lefties. So Dan Norman will pinch hit, and then we'll get a new second baseman, and it will be Mike Gates. And if you remember from the NLCS, Mike Gates had the big triple to seal that series. So you don't lose a whole lot with Gates. Presumably next time he comes to bat, if he comes up to bat, it would be a right-hander, not a left-hander in the game. So Dan Norman is your pinch hitter for Spire. It'll be Norman. And then, whoops, not for Spire, for Flynn. I'm writing it in wrong. My bad. Let's clean this up a little bit. It is Norman, the pinch hitter, and then Gates will take over at second base in the 9th for the Expos. And Gates is a 3E13. All right, so here we go. Splitorff One more base hit, and he could be in trouble for his point of weakness. In fact, he would be. One more base runner. Right now, though, Spire, let's see, Spire, I don't think he's being held. I'll double check it, but I don't think he is. Let's take a look here. Spire, no, he's definitely not being held. So he is not being held. If they were down 1 run, they might pinch run for him, but down 2, I don't think they're going to do so. Splitorff to Norman. 6-3, that's a ballpark single for a right-hander. 1-4, that's an 11, so he lines it to short. 1 away, so Norman fails in the pinch, but they had to try to do something. And now Raines is up, and the Royal bullpen is loosening. They do have a right-hander down in the bullpen, do the Royals. They do have righty Bill Castro loosening the bullpen. Quisenberry is not that far behind. You can bet on that. With an off day tomorrow, they can go with Quisenberry if they need to. So Quisenberry and Castro are both loosening the bullpen. So we'll see what Dick Hauser wants to decide on that. Right now, Splitorff to Raines. 1-8 for Raines. That's a walk. And now Splitorff is fatigued. But we got a lefty coming up who hits lefties very well, does Al Oliver. So let's see, do they want to stick with Splitorff one more time, or do they go to the bullpen for a lefty perhaps? Or just go to Quisenberry and call it a day? I think they're not going to mess around. They're going with Quisenberry. He pitched an inning yesterday, but that doesn't really affect him here. He gets tomorrow off for travel, so they're going to use Quisenberry to try to get the save right here in the 8th inning. Saves aren't always in the 9th inning. Sometimes it's the earlier innings where the save comes into play. So first and second, 1 out. Tying runs are on base with 1 out. And Al Oliver, the batter, havoc roll for Quisenberry. Checking a wild pitch, there's nothing happening. Oliver to Quisenberry. Runners are not being held. Or Quisenberry to Oliver, rather. 6-9, and it's a ground ball shortstop X, but the runners are not being held. So the shortstop Washington will keep his 2E32 rating. 2 and a 1, though, is going to get through for a base hit. How do you like that? It snuck it through on the AstroTurf. Base hit Al Oliver. That will score Spire most likely. Now, let's see. I take that back. He's a 2, and that's a 1. That's an SI1. So it does not score the run unless there's an error made. That's a 6, and he's an E32. There is no 6. So it's a single, but it's just going to load the bases. So I stand corrected. It's an SI1 when you're a 2 with a 1 there. So the bases are now loaded with 1 out for the Hawk, Andre Dawson. Quisenberry looking to turn 2 and get out of the inning. Nobody being held. 2-3 for Dawson is a hit by pitch. So how about that? Quisenberry hits him, and that forces in a run. Spire will come across the plate, cuts the lead to 2-1. Bases are still loaded with 1 out, and the dangerous Gary Carter coming to bat. So Quisenberry, a little shaky. They still have Castro loosening in the bullpen. They also have a lefty pitching as well. They've got left-hander Don Hood in the bullpen, along with Castro, but Quisenberry's their guy. That's who they're hanging their hat on. Here's Carter. Expos fighting back. So, oh, that D20 did not go through, so let me try that again. The 3 dice went through, but the D20 did not. It slipped out of my hand, so let's try it again. 4-4 for Quisenberry. Catcher X, that's Don Slaught. He is a 3E2. 3 and a 14 for a catcher. This could be big if you don't want to make sure you don't have any pass balls or anything. 3 and a 14 is a straight up pop out, so there's no chance of a pass ball or anything like that, or a wild pitch. It is a pop out. We're just checking for an error. He's a 10, or I'm sorry, that's a 10. He's a 2. No error, so it's a pop out. Huge out there to get the out with no advancement by the runners. Carter pops out for the 2nd time in a row to the catcher Slaught. 2 outs now, and Tim Wallach, the batter. Quisenberry 1 out away from getting out of the rest of the jam and keeping the lead. But Tim Wallach is no bargain. Fortunately for Quisenberry, Wallach hits a whole lot better against lefties apparently than he does righties, but Still, he's dangerous nonetheless. 2-10. That's a pop out to first, so he gets another pop out to end the inning. And Quisenberry does his thing. He does allow one of the runners to score on a hit by pitch, but he keeps it at a 2-1 game and keeps his team in the lead. We go to the ninth. It is 2-1. And let's see what the Expos want to do here. They got Martin, Slot, and Washington due up. Let's see who they decide to turn to. I guess might as well go to Reardon. I mean, there's no reason not to. So Jeff Reardon's going to come on and try to keep the score where it is. As the home pitcher in the ninth, when you're trailing, there is no save situation, so you might as well use him. So Jeff Reardon in there to face Jerry Martin. And let's see, do the Royals want to counter with a pinch hitter? They could counter with Cesar Geronimo, perhaps. Let's see how they want to play this. In fact, they will. They're going to bring in Cesar Geronimo to pinch hit. He's a .269 hitter with 4 home runs. And he's a little bit better defensive player in right field as well. So they're going to go with Geronimo. He will come in and play right field in the bottom of the ninth. He is a E2, but a -3 arm versus a +1 arm. And he runs the same 14, but they're looking for his left-handed bat to get a big base hit to start the ninth. So Dick Hauser pulling that lever to see if that works out for his team. Jeff Reardon to Cesar Geronimo. 2-6 for Geronimo, grounds to short, 1 away. They were also hoping that Geronimo had familiarity with Reardon, facing him in the National League, but that didn't pan out the way they hoped, I guess. Here's the catcher, Don Slot. 6-6, struck him out, 2 down. And that brings up UL Washington. Reardon, 3-11. Fly to right, and that's going to end the inning. So Reardon pitches a 1-2-3, 9th inning for Jeff Reardon. So we go to the bottom of the ninth. Last chance for the Expos to prevent falling behind 2-0. They got to do it against Quisenberry. And Quisenberry will be facing Francona. At least scheduled here is Francona, Youngblood, and Spire, but we might get Cromartie. Cromartie's going to pinch hit for Youngblood. So Youngblood is going to be pinch hit for by Cromartie. Now that a righty is in the game, Cromartie will pinch hit after Francona. So we got Francona, Cromartie, and then Spire. And it's a possibility they could hit for Spire, but I doubt it. They don't have a whole lot left on the bench that's any better than Spire. They do have Jerry White, but he's not as good of an average as Spire is. Although he is left-handed, which could make a difference. All right, so whoops. The whole team up there. All right, Francona leads off the bottom of the ninth here against Quisenberry. He's looking for the save to try to wrap it up and get his second save of the World Series. 1-9, ground ball to second. Frank White is there, 1 away. Now the pinch hitter, Warren Cromartie. He does have power. He can tie the game with 1 swing of the bat. 5-2 is a ground ball, second base X. That's Frank White. He's a 1, so we know he gets to it. E20 is an error chance. So we're checking for the error on an E20, second baseman. In order to have an error, we need a 3, 13, 17, or 18. We get a 13. That is an error on Frank White. Wow. Second baseman, E20, a 13 is an error. So a big error there by Frank White. That may open the door. First error of the series for the Royals. And that puts Cromartie at first base. Now, he doesn't run very well, so they might go for a pinch runner. He runs at a 13. Do they have anybody that runs any better? Yes, Jerry White. Jerry White runs at a 16. So White will come in and pinch run for Cromartie. So it is going to be White. And if it goes extras, White will stay in the game and play right field. And now Spire is up. He's going to have to hit because they just don't have a whole lot left on the bench. Unless they wanted to go to Brian Little, who is a lefty, and lefties hit Quisenberry better. Boy, what do you want to do here? You got Little, you got Brad Mills. You know what? They're going with Brad Mills. Brad Mills is going to hit for Spire. Even though Spire's 2 for 3, they're going to go with Brad Mills. So Brad Mills will pinch hit. Like I say, desperate times call for desperate measures. And if it goes to extra innings, they'll bring in Brian Little to play short. Right now, Mills is up against Quisenberry. Havoc roll. 2, chance for a balk, but he has no balk rating. So, or balk or pass ball, but no pass ball rating for Slot. No balk rating for Quisenberry, so nothing to worry about there. So, let's see. And White, do they want to try to steal with White? I don't think so. He's just a good runner, not necessarily the best base stealer in the world. Stole 3 bases, got caught 3 times. So they're going to go with Brad Mills and see what he can do. Against Quisenberry, 2-5, struck him out. 2 down. 2 down, a big strikeout. Spire would have also made it out in case you were curious. So that didn't work for him. But now Mike Gates is up, and he's the little known guy that had that 3-9 triple in the NLCS. So this is only at bat. He's 1 for 1 with a triple. So this is it right here. Gates coming on with a chance. First to Havoc for Quisenberry. Nothing happening. So Quisenberry to Gates. 1-8. Ground ball to first. Aikens takes it, steps on the bag, and the ball game is over. The Royals take a commanding 2-0 lead in this 1982 World Series, winning both games on the road. How do you like that? 2-1 the final. We'll get the grand totals. Quisenberry ends up going, let's see, Splitorff goes, I forgot to put in Splitorff's numbers, didn't I? Splitorff goes 7 1/3. Quisenberry goes an inning and 2/3, but there's an off day for travel, so he'll be ready to go in game 3 for sure. Let's get the numbers first on Quisenberry. He gave up a hit, got a strikeout, nothing else. And then for Splitorff, he gave up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. And that 1 run was charged to him. And let's see here. He is the winner. Quisenberry gets the save. The loss goes to Bryn Smith. And let's check his walks and strikeouts. Let's see here. He walked 1 here. That was his only walk, was the last batter he faced, Tim Raines. That was his only walk. Didn't strike out many, but didn't have to. 1, 2, 3. I count 3 strikeouts there. So for the Expos, they got 1 run on 7 hits. Royals 2 runs on 8 hits. So no real outstanding hero in the game, I don't believe, in this one. But, well, I guess Willie Aikens, that double, that 2-run double was the deal. But you could also say Splitorff pitching all that great pitching he did would have also been a potential player of the game. But the final score, Kansas City takes a 2-0 lead over Montreal as the series goes back to Kansas City. 2-8-1 for the Royals, 1-7-1 for the Expos. Winning pitcher Splitorff, losing pitcher Bryn Smith. Quisenberry, a well-earned save. And we're going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come, as the old song says. And Kansas City will go back with a commanding 2-0 lead. And the Expos definitely with their backs against the wall. And in game 3, the Expos will be turning to right-hander Bill Gullickson. And the Royals will go to their 3rd consecutive left-hander, Larry Gura. So the Gura against Gullickson in game 3, Sanderson against Dennis Leonard in game 4, and then after that, we'll figure it out. If there is a game 5 or 6, we'll figure all that stuff out. I'm sure Steve Rogers will probably pitch game 5, I would most imagine, if it gets to that. But right now, the Expos and Jim Fanning kind of shaking their heads, trying to figure out how to get some runs and what they can do. The Royals pitching has held them down in 2 games, total of 19 innings. They've only scored 4 runs, so they got to get their offense in gear. Pitching was fine, but just couldn't get it done. And the second guessing of one, bringing in Bryn Smith to replace Charlie Lee, even though Charlie Lee was on the edge of being tired. And the other second guess was probably intentionally walking McRae and pitching to Akins. Although both would have doubled had you not intentionally walked him, it would have been just a one-run double. And then the run here might have tied the game, but if Hits and Butts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. So that's just all part of the fun of doing these games and trying to manage along and whatnot and seeing what the dice rolls come up with. You play what you think is the best interest of both teams, and you play what you think might be the best strategy, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That's all you can say about it. Well, thank you for joining me here at Strat-O-Matic Game 2 of the World Series 1982 style. Royals lead it 2-0. Take a day off for travel and come back for Game 3 in Kansas City. Games 3, 4, and 5, if necessary, will be in Kansas City. And so maybe the Expos will do better on the road. We'll wait and see. But till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.